is there. The Earthweaver clan has roots a little north of it. We're quite old around there. Near here, we decided that we were finally going to move, as we were sick of dealing with the Drow and the other sorts of things that would come in from the Underdark. Obviously, Earthheart is near that great scar in the earth. A place we dislike to refer to, but we're often the first line of defense against whatever comes from below. At least, whatever comes our direction from below. Obviously, we're not one to restrict them from going into the Shard.
I see.
And that's what brought us here, but like I said, I won't know much more about our clan's history unless I go digging around the elders and their oral talks, or unless I go digging at books, and let me tell you, I don't have the patience for either.
I'll drink to that. Well.
Aye. And I guess that'll be their breakfast, huh?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, everyone, you're free. We've made it through the first one.
Story.
We've made it through the first.
I insist that there is coffee in this world. I can retroactively retcon it if Kate disagrees, but
if not, then it's just another pint of ale. Like, fight a hangover with more alcohol. It's a perfect idea.
Yeah. But yeah, she's out the front of the inn, and she's got the big mug coffee, and she's got like a little, I say a notebook. It's sheets of parchment that have sort of got a couple of strips of thin leather wrapped around them to make a notebook, and she's just sketching with a pencil, just sort of like enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah,
that's where she is.
I don't remember. I don't think I was here when we explained where Hef went after I had to go, or did we just was that up to the wind?
I think we both were babysitting Barkus if we didn't know where.
Yeah, okay. So I would probably have been inside of the inn, watching over Barkus.
Oh, and there was looking after the little boy who we found underground.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So yeah, then I would walk out of the inn. I'd probably pass by Gunnar and Hauser while they're talking, and like just pay them no mind because I need a drink myself because I just had to babysit a child for days. While you all went on an adventure, I had to babysit a child.
We should probably clarify. We're actually a good ways away from Red Larch at this point.
Yeah, we're like a day's travel away.
For your reference, if you open up the area map, we'll lead you there. We start at Red Larch. You see the Somber Hills. If you go northeast from there, across the Stone Bridge, you'll see the town of Belliard, and that's where we're at currently.
Yeah.
Fair Hef probably didn't have to fight flying people on giant budgerigars.
Yeah, seriously.
Probably passes by the corpse and
like,
what the fuck happened here?
Just pass by them. Alright, so and either way he is going to head forward to the inn and see right outside and raise his hand.
You made it then. Don't have to worry about you.
Yeah, I had a bit of trouble getting the kid to fall asleep so I could, skip away, but I got Barkus to watch after him. The guy actually is awake part of the time, but I think he's just too drunk to follow along with us.
Seems fair enough to me. I mean, the explanation. Yeah, it seems to suit him. Hopefully the child won't be too corrupted. Takes a big swig.
Barkus knows better than to give a child alcohol. I'm pretty sure he's not that dumb. Then again, he isn't the one made of rocks, so...
Fair point. Did you make it here okay?
He takes a seat. Well, I did pass by a few of those baddies that you apparently slayed, but I was able to fell them easily, especially since they were already wounded.
Oh, good for you. Should have known you'd be fine. The others are inside, I suppose. I suppose I should get you caught up. She flips back through the notebook to a collection of well-kept notes that in no way resemble that of a player a million miles away behind the computer screen. Looks like we're trying to follow that caravan of people that went missing. They made it here, and then they were looking to head further down. So I think that's where we're going to head next. But on account of those people with the giant birds, I think they were birds, not sure. They gave us a room for the night and food. So if we tell them you're with us, we should be able to get a breakfast.
That is kind of you, and I suppose I should step in afterwards. But I have been meaning to talk to you about something.
Oh?
Yeah. And he sort of he takes out his goggles and he puts them down, and he asks, "May I see your leg for a moment?"
It's a bit early for a personal question, but sure. And she's going to take it off rather than just prop it up on the table, because she is very short. But she sort of unbuckles it and pops it up on the table.
He'll take it into his hands. "Thank you kindly." He looks it over for a little bit and sort of just tries to distinguish the type of metal and the the feel for the metal and how grounded it is, depending on if it's firm enough to... obviously it's firm enough to stand on, but he wants to see sort of how dense it is, how it would weigh against other metals that he's dealt with.
I think while he's doing this, Ren is actually giving him an approving look. Like, the way he's looking at it is like how she looks at things. So this is the only reason that she's not getting more agitated about it, because this is clearly a guy that understands.
Yeah. It's a fine model. I've dealt with metal like this in my shop before, but never thought I'd see something so intricately made. Well done.
Thank you. It's taken me quite a bit of time to get it to this. That's not the first version.
He hands it back to her afterwards because he doesn't have much else to do with it, and she would probably prefer that it was back to her. So, what about these other versions?
I built my first one not long after, and it was pretty rudimentary, sort of more of a basic sort of shape. And she starts pointing bits out as she puts it back on. As time's gone on, I've sort of worked out ways to make it more comfortable to wear, that'll deal with damage better, but it all corrodes, doesn't it? There's only so much you can do. So I keep working at it, trying to make it as mobile as possible.
That is a fairly well thought out plan. I haven't really done much outside of my weaponry. I have made a few prosthetics for others in my village, but other than that, not much else has come across. I also was able to create some of the crosses that were at my local temple.
Wonderful. I've done a bit of smithing as well in my time. I've never really tried my hand at weaponry, though.
It's not too different from... You go.
They wouldn't let me stay in the guild. Slight difference of opinion.
I hear that. I've had my fair share of some of my but nothing too serious that I would get kicked out of the guild. In fact, that's kind of the reason why I'm on this mission in the first place.
Oh?
Yeah. He sort of just pulls his goggles back up and rubs the back of his head. I've been kind of chasing after this fella. Took a lot of money from my guild, and I was chosen to sort of step up and be the one to bring him down. I traced him back as far as Red Larch, but I kind of lost the trail after a while, and then I got caught up with the party, and it's just kind of been one big blur almost.
Seems to be a lot of that going around. How's is looking for somebody too, and me.
You do?
Yeah. And she sort of gestures her leg, and yeah, unfinished business to attend to.
Oh. Yeah, that would warrant a second look at.
Oh, good to know that a man of God is on my side on the matter.
Of course. It wouldn't be fair to just leave unfinished business like that. Every action has its recompense, after all.
Believe me, I'm very aware. And she points to the scar on the other side. It's just if somebody understands cause and effect in a very literal manifestation, it's Ren. Yeah, no, I understand. Thank you.
He nods and looks to her drink. What have you got there? Like he's never seen it before.
Well, I came across this trader back in Waterdeep. I keep a small stash in one of my pockets. It's really quite amazing. You kind of grind it down and then you steep it with hot water. The innkeeper gave me the weirdest look when I asked for hot water, but it really is quite invigorating. You should try it. It's a bit of an acquired taste, mind, but it'll wake you up.
I could use a bit of waking up. Do you possibly have any more of that Grandin stuff, or?
Yeah, sure. We'll head inside, get you some hot water, and I'll show you how it's done.
Yeah. He'll sit up from the table and nod his head again and walk in to ask the barkeep for some water.
Cool.
And then
I
he
think
returns.
I figure that's a nice little end to the scene as
sure.
Ren introduces Hef to the wonder that is coffee.
Yes.
And the party gets to have two incredibly buzzed short people running around.
What is this coughed tea? What do we refer to this beverage as?
Is this bean water? It looks like
Hot
it.
Bean water?
Hot bean water.
I imagine that's how he's going to describe it from now on. It's bean water.
It's bean water. I gotta get the bean juice.
It's better than that leaf tea.
Yeah, hot leaf, better than hot leaf water. Hot bean
Yeah.
water.
By the way, I just like
Hot bean water.
this is unrelated, but there's music going on in the background, and like I can't affect any of the scenes directly, but I have so much power. I'm a DJ.
Oh god.
Instantly ruin the mood of any scene with this one weird trick.
Yeah, I accidentally slipped into that smooth jazz song that I showed you guys a little earlier.
No smooth
for
jazz.
about 30 seconds.
No smooth jazz.
No.
So it's like
I will. I'm so gonna have to go back and watch this episode to see the DJ stylings of Corey.
It's clearly bean
Yes.
tea, people. Thanks, Emma.
Oh,
So,
cool. Who's up next?
Hef has arrived. We've had dwarf talk. What's next on our list of events? Who's hyped to do?
Well, what time would this be? Have these taken place at the same time? I'm assuming we've got up kind of like mid-morning-ish. At least the majority of us have all gone down like closer to 12 than anything else.
Sounds about right. Gunnar would have been up early because he's totally fine, and so would have Hoser. Well, is Hoser
Yeah.
a morning
Because he's
person?
an old man.
Is Hoser a morning person?
And Ren is an early riser by nature.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
better get
So-
Gunner's scenes out of the way so we can get to bed at 6.
Oh man.
Has Gunnar had his morning prunes?
Well, he did have his morning gruel.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Good
Oh
lord.
god. Right. So
Yeah, don't worry about the chronology of the day too
Yeah.
much. We can always
Yeah.
just say that it happened at lunchtime or
We
whenever.
can do some Rashomon style back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, if Morgana sees Ren come back in with hair, she'd probably stand up after making sure Whisper's okay, not gonna like pass out at the table. Make sure she's
Whisper's
got
looking
water
very
within
much
reach.
more alive.
That's very
she's
kind
got
of her.
water within reach. She's got bread within reach. And then she'll probably
She's fine. She's stable.
She's stable.
Morgana would probably stand up, like nod at F as she goes past, and then she'd like double tap Ren on the shoulder, and just as she, just kind of walk out, back outside.
Cool. Ren will follow.
Okay, so Morgana and Ren. Morgana, the expert at 5 minutes with Ren, this new party game we designed.
Another new party game. So yeah, she'd step away from any windows, so she'd probably step a little bit like around the corner of the inn. Still with a glass of water in her hand, just kind of swirling it around, and then she'd probably just
Right.
Someone asked me how you were when they saw your reaction to something in Red Larch.
What did you tell them?
I just told them there's a lot of time that we haven't actually spent together. And she'd look kind of not necessarily pointedly at Ren, but she'd make eye contact.
If you want to ask me something, you can. I won't be annoyed at you. When have I ever been annoyed at you? Well, there was that one time, but I maintain you did not need to pick me up and carry me out of the bar.
He was 3 times your size.
That was irrelevant.
He would have sat on you.
I would have sliced his tendons. It would have been fine.
Well, that doesn't matter. I still maintain that he would have turned you into a Ren pancake.
Well, let's agree to disagree, okay? I think it would have been fine. That's
I
not
know
what
you-
you're asking.
I know you're of a scientific mind, but please don't do that experiment again.
Okay, sure.
And then she'll look at her glass, and she'll kind of look at the floor. And then when it's getting to a really awkward silence, she'll just kind of go, "Why did you leave?"
She's looks kind of taken aback by the question, and then after a second, no, it makes big sense that of course Morgana would ask the question, and she sort of runs her hand over her hair, and her fingers sort of catch on the earring, the shark tooth earring, and the tooth being one that Morgana gave her. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking about you, and I should have thought about you. I couldn't stay there anymore. It hurt to be there.
She just kind of like nods along. And then, there's a lot you missed.
I can tell. You grew up like 2.5 feet for starters.
I wasn't gonna stay the same size as a 10-year-old forever.
Look, you can crush a Nong's dreams as much as you want, okay? I know that you were going to grow taller. I just maybe hoped that you wouldn't be that much taller. Ren kind of knows that's not what they're talking about, but she is one of the most awkward people to have ever existed. So it's kind of why she's not addressing the topic directly. I'm sorry I missed it.
I don't blame you.
You probably
Well,
should.
I mean, it's not your job to put me first. It's not your job to look after me.
I know.
I just I thought she gets a little, she gets like not necessarily embarrassed, but she kind of, as she says it, she looks taken aback by the fact that she's actually saying it.
Yeah, Ren
And
looks
and
incredibly
just
lost.
says-
Its reaction. Ren looks kind of like she's been slapped. And then nods. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I'm not a great person, and you deserve better.
I mean, neither of us are great people.
Ah, you're wonderful.
If you knew what I'd done, possibly not.
The stuff I know that you've done, and I still think the world of you.
Well, you may have hurt me, and you may have abandoned me, and you know, you may have not given me any explanation, but you're still my best friend. I just didn't know that. I didn't know that caring would hurt. I didn't know that was the price.
Ren kind of lets out a sigh and sort of tentatively goes to take Morgana's hand. Like, half expecting her to pull away. She's not going to do it if Morgana doesn't let her.
She lets her.
Okay. That's the thing. You open your heart to people, and then things hurt when they go away or you lose them. And her voice cracks a little bit. And we just... Sometimes we get lucky enough that we get a second chance. I'm glad that you found me. And that I'm getting to be in your life again. And if you want to know about things, we can talk about things.
Maybe a bit at a time. I mean,
Sure,
we have.
I'd like to know. We've got time. I'm not going anywhere. And
kind of-
now you know where I am. I'm much easier to keep up with these days. And she sort of bangs on the side of her metal leg.
You always stunk of metal.
Yes, so you've told me numerous
Now you-
times.
Now you sound like it as well. I mean, I thought I wasn't subtle.
Well, subtlety I find is overrated. Better to leave an impression.
I guess that's what thunder does.
Lightning too. She smiles up at her. I'm gonna go inside if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna stay out here for a little bit.
Do you want to be left alone?
I just need to think. Make sure that Whisper's okay. She after the knock she had and drinking a little
Sure.
bit too much.
Sure, I'll go sit with her for a bit. Then I might go upstairs, take the weight off.
Okay.
Okay. You're a good girl, Morgana. And don't be afraid to care about people. I know it hurts, but the good that comes with it makes up for it. And she just smiles sadly and gives her hand a squeeze and then sort of clanks off to head inside.
End scene.
Gunner.
Insane.
Like,
How much of that stuff I hear? I know
Like-
I got roll perception. I have to get to roll perception against that.
let's see it. I just want to see what happens.
Do you know
This is
what?
pretty
Do you know
good.
what? I really wish that you'd rolled lower than a 15.
Oh my god.
Ren is
I'm
none
very
the wiser.
I really want to take that to mean that like he's just like not hiding at all.
He's a good.
Entirely
He's good.
So Gunnar, like any person of, okay, I don't want to generalize, but he's pretty interested in gossip, even though he doesn't like to let onto it. So he was eavesdropping.
Oh, you're the nosy dad.
Yes, he is
Gonna hide
definitely.
behind a
Nosy
conveniently
as
shaped
well.
lamp.
He is 100%
By the
nosy.
window. Cool.
I know.
Oh my god.
Well, Ren will head inside, and if she sees Hauser, she would just say, like, leave it a bit, if you're just not now, and goes over to Whisper and sits down.
Whisper's kind of slumped over the bar and is making very pained noises.
Oh,
Oh, Ren attempts to make a vaguely soothing sound that is probably not that soothing, and pats her back awkwardly while signalling to the bartender for more water. Somebody who isn't me do a scene.
All this magic, you'd think we'd have a way
Yeah.
to cure hangovers.
bold move,
That's
Corey.
true.
That was a good way to get your head blown off at that gone wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because
There's
Gunnar
still
at
time.
first was just kind of like, well, it's the awkward thing, right? Where he's like, okay, I can maybe talk to her about this, and then like he notices Morgana heads out, and he's like, maybe I should wait, and then he waits for too long,
Yeah.
He's
and,
kinda
and now he's like
eavesdropping
posted
without
by the
intending
door,
to.
listening to this happen, and he's like, well, I can't leave.
Oh, right. Okay, so
I'm
Ren
here
would...
now and
I love the
exhibited.
idea. No, I love the idea that Ren has to walk past Gunnar to go back in and doesn't even notice that he's there, like leaning against the corner of the inn, trying to look subtle, and she doesn't even notice. Just like walks straight past.
He's got like one arm on the window, so he's like,
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
It wasn't so much that he was like
Another
trying to
thing
tiptoe
I get.
away, as he just was very good at pretending he had a purpose to be there.
For sure.
Oh
cool.
man.
Oh,
I
God.
just like the fact he's heard a load of gossip and he's like, oh, what's this about? And has no idea what most of it's about.
He has no
Yeah.
idea what most of it's about anyway, so he's just like, huh.
I am so proud of you for
Contactless
doing that,
gossip.
Corey. I am so proud of you. That's the best.
It's so pointless. He's like, okay.
I have heard some things, I do not know what they are.
So who's on first? What's on second? Who's
I do not know what to do.
I don't
with
know
this
what's on third.
information.
I have some knowledge, I don't know what to do with it.
Ooh, what a
who-
wonderful
who's on-
one.
Well, I have just been
Let's do it.
explicitly instructed to not do a Hazard Morgana scene yet.
We can always do a time skip in day.
Yeah, it's the
So,
same. We can just
yeah.
rush him on stuff.
Good. We have other options.
A few minutes later, Gunner's back at the table, just sat with her, just going, what does it mean? What is it?
Gunnar really wants to accost Red right now. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that's the problem.
We can do that now. I don't mind, but I will then insist that somebody else be in a scene for a little bit so I can listen. I'm down. If Gunnar wants to talk to Ren now, he can.
Right.
I'm
Well,
up for
now's
it.
as good a time as any, and he votes that maybe away from the public and prying eyes is a better option. So if Ren's gone up to her
Yeah.
room,
Yeah.
he'll come knocking at the door.
She will yell to come in, and because she's sat on her bed and the leather coat that she wears is off and spread over her lap like a workman's cloth, and she has her leg off and is like tinkering with it because that's what rock gnomes do. But she's tweaking at it. So.
Putting that damn piece of devilry back together, are you?
She just looks at him and turns the screwdriver.
That's a yes.
You're perceptive, aren't you?
Well, only as much as my eyes serve me, which is decently well, but in this occasion, maybe not the best. For the most needed of statements, I'll accept.
Sure.
Right.
What can I do for you, Gunnar?
Right, well, And he just sort of like scratches his head and then crosses his arms because like this is sort of a weird thing to kind of broach. Well, a quiet moment, I suppose. Do you mind if I just need motions for door closing?